Hello, this is Lisa Russick
And Misty Lore.
with the podcast We Are All Psychic, and today we have a really cool guest, and she does really cool things like they all do, of course, like we all do, and like we're all psychic. Catherine, would you like to say hello?
Hi, everybody.
I hear them. They're saying hi back.
What
And
up? What
we
up?
have a question for you right away. Misty, would you like to ask her this very important, special, and crazy question?
Yes. Catherine,
Yes.
do you think that we're all psychic?
I knew you were going to ask me that because,
Oh,
well, the name of your podcast, which I love. And I've been thinking about how to answer it for a few days and have
okay.
no idea. So I'm just going to open my mouth and see what comes out. Because I think that's a complicated question. If we look at it from the level of metaphysics or theology. So if you think about that, all knowledge is available. Right? That in cosmic consciousness, connecting to cosmic consciousness, all knowledge is always available.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then, of course, would you call that being psychic?
Yes.
Okay.
I would.
There you go. All right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Then we
Psychic
can call that being
encompasses a
psychic.
lot of things. So I would say intuition, basically, at the root of it would be psychic, but the psychic is a weird, that's what funny that you go there. A lot of people have a problem with that word exactly describing what it is. And I love that you have
Yeah.
another way to put it. So I'd love to hear, like, you do think we all have some kind of something, but you're not comfortable as psychic. Is that kind of how
Well, I think it dumbs it down.
it does?
I think
You're
that
right. That does dumb it down.
I think that what every human has the potential for, has access to, and can grow into is a level of cosmic consciousness. That could be one way to say it. Clairvoyance, being able to see everything clearly. That's another way to say it. Having access to all the knowledge of the universe is a very big way to say it, although you may not want that.
Yes.
But we all have access to that when we're attuned and aligned with that which creates us. So
Mm-hmm.
So by saying the word psychic, it sort of to me narrows it. So I don't have a problem with the word other than I feel like it makes something smaller that's really a whole lot bigger.
I agree. It is bigger. I call it like the energy system or energy work mainly as like my favorite kind of phrase for it. And I think
I love that.
that's the main one I like I'm comfortable with. Like we all have one, you know, and a
But
field,
it,
and, you know.
yes, and it's an intriguing question though, because then it starts that process of expanding into that. It just
Yeah.
starts that project.
It does. You're right. It kind of opens the door to what you believe in and what words you use and how your concepts are for these things that we're talking about. We're sure hard to talk about. There are not a lot of words for these things that we all have the same context for, especially. Like for example, the first time I heard the word empath was Deanna Troy on Star Trek Next Generation, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I was like, am I an empath? Is that real? No. I mean, that's where I heard it, and I thought it was just the most wonderful thing. And I love Star Trek, and I love Deanna Troy. But when I read about what an empath is in real life, I was like, oh my God, that's real. That's happening to me. How it was described on the internet to me. That's the first time I ever got it. And it was in like 2001 or 2002 or something. So I was really surprised to find this term, for example. And now everybody might have a little different about empath by now, because I think most people in our culture would know what an empath is. Most people would say, oh, what an empath? And they have an opinion about it. I don't know.
It's
But
a more natural word now.
yeah, it's more people know what it is, and
Mm-hmm.
meditation's mentioned more, and nobody really is derivative or derisive of like meditation anymore, dismissive of it. They're kind of seeing benefits in all areas of life towards it, and started with psychology, I think, making the most benefits of it for like traumas and PTSD
Mm-hmm.
and addictions. So I thought that that brought it into, especially like the early 1900s, like psychology started then, I guess, or late 1800s. And so that's when, like, that's kind of the new school of thought when we start thinking about our conscious self as a collective in our culture. I think that's really cool. But everyone would know, like empath. But it is interesting to take it a step further and where's the opinion on that? But personally, where'd you come, like, What's your background on like that perspective? Because you want to go deeper. That's obviously one background of yours. You like going deeper
Oh, yeah,
into
you got
it.
me.
Yeah.
That's right. It is exactly. I like to go as deep or as high as possible.
Yes,
It's a great adventure.
it is.
Great
Totally.
Mm-hmm. It is.
So, well, I was really, really young, and my family would take vacations up near the Canadian border in Wisconsin at a wilderness lake, and we would go in the woods. And the first time when I was allowed to go walking in the woods on my own was one of the biggest days of my life. And I was 5. No parent would do that today, probably.
Mm-mm.
Nope. Different.
No.
Oh, no,
Different
I was about
time.
that age too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went
Didn't do
in
it
the
now.
woods by myself. So finally, I didn't have people in my head, right? Or people, but
Yeah,
by
your
me.
decisions. You make every decision.
Yes. So I was
Yeah.
by myself there in the woods, and I looked up. First of all, I remember hearing the birds, and they were doing the warning chatter. And I just went really still, which I had learned to do from being in the fishing boats. So to be in the fishing boats, we had to be, as children, really, really still. And it was a great honor to be,
And quiet. And quiet.
you had to be completely
Mm-hmm.
silent and then
Mm-hmm.
still because you couldn't move your feet on the bottom of the boat or it would cause ripples and vibrations in the water and scare the fish. So still and quiet. And so I learned how to be still and I got still in the woods and I looked up through the canopy of the trees and the beautiful leaves and the clouds and the blue sky. And I went, this is not real. It's beautiful, but this can't be real. I want to know
Yes.
what's behind it. I want to pull the curtain back.
Burden.
I want to know what's behind all this. I want to know what's real.
This is blowing me away because I had almost an identical experience with the sky and the trees and everything. It felt like it was about to like just open up, like you said. In my case, I was driving and just looking. I was like, it's all not real. Like you're what everything you're saying is what I experienced in that moment. It's freaking weird that you're saying that. And it happened to be everything you're looking at. I thought it was just like it could disintegrate or fall apart or something right on top of it. I can't see. Is that kind of what you felt like too?
Yeah, it for me it felt like it was a painting or
Yeah.
I felt like yeah, I was looking at just like a
Two
two-dimensional.
dimensional. Yes, it felt very two dimensional to me
Yeah,
too.
I wonder how
Yes.
many other people have felt
I
this.
wonder, listeners, watchers, if you're listening, leave a comment or email us about if you had that happen to you, because I've never heard about that from anyone else. And that seems like, I mean, it's weird that two of us have had that same thing. I'm sure somebody else has. So yeah, listeners, watchers, let us know if you have or know
Yeah,
anyone has. That's really cool.
yeah.
And the name.
So when I looked up and I said, this isn't real, I want to know what's behind it, it did part.
It
It was
did?
like, yeah, it did part. Yeah.
What happened? But didn't part for me. It started to go and it was really weird. I didn't get to
Oh,
part. It kind of bulged. It's hard to explain.
okay.
That makes
No,
sense.
I understand that. I understand that because you know, in years going on, I we all start to when you start on a spiritual path, then you it's regular to go through this illusion, right? I mean, then over the
Absolutely.
years,
Yeah, yeah, it is.
yes. So over the years, when I realized that this was an illusion, then it wasn't real, and I wanted to know what was real, and I wanted to know who I was, the truth of me as well.
Yes.
And when it parted, I saw the stars and I heard them singing to each other. So I started to hear what I learned later is called the celestial melodies or the sound current
Ah.
or the nam or the shabda yoga.
Is that the music that's always playing sometimes in the background when you have anesthesia or something? And it's just like you're writing it with it or something in your head and you hear
You
it?
got it exactly. You're riding it with it. You have it exactly because it's like a current.
Yeah.
It's like a river that will take you.
What is that called?
Many names,
Okay.
but in Sufism, in Eckankar, we call it the sound current.
Okay.
In Hebrew, it's called the voice of the heart. In some of the philosophers, Greek philosophers, called it the celestial melodies. In the Vedas, it's called the Nam or the Nada. In Christianity, it's called the Word. In the beginning was the Word. You find it in every religious tradition.
Hmm.
That is, I have never known that. That because all my life I've heard that music. If I'm just relaxed, space out, I'll hear it. I say anesthesia because that's when I really notice it. I can't hear anything but that. But the couple times I've had that
What
happen,
does it sound like to you?
it's usually an orchestra or a
Uh,
symphony.
uh,
Sometimes
and
it's a rock song though, but usually it's almost always a symphony. And it's just
that's
it was
pretty,
like
that's
kind of like Debussy, the artist
ah,
Debussy, the music,
yes.
kind of like
Huh?
that. But I'm writing it with whatever out there is doing it. It's everybody. Feels like we're all, and you can feel it like with your mood. You know what's coming, you know what's happened, but you're in it in the middle. It's really neat. It feels and sounds wonderful. But anything can interrupt it. It can be always just kind of going sometimes and not notice it. And then if I notice it, it'll go away. I can't just listen to it though, unless I've been
Gotcha.
in an altered state or something, and that's all I can hear. It's weird.
Hmm.
A person usually will experience it. Some people hear it, some people feel it like a wind or a
Yeah,
breeze. Some
really.
I can feel it. Yeah, I'm
I
a
was thinking
feeler.
that.
Yeah.
And so it depends on your mode of learning. If you're a visual learner, but you can do it in different ways too. You might get it all at once. But you're exactly right in my experience, and in what I've read about it, and my experience of tuning into it is that it takes you.
Yeah.
It will take you, and it'll take you to the most beautiful places in creation.
Yes, it does. The feelings of them. It's like feelings of them.
And eventually you can open your spiritual eyes and see the
Really.
places that you are in the spiritual realms.
See, I have not been able to do that. That's really cool. I want to be able to. I want to know what you're talking about there. I've not with my eyeballs, or I can see things with my inner eye, like spirit,
It's the
etc.
inner eye. It's a spiritual eye.
I have done trance work, shamanic trance work with a guide of mine, a couple guides of mine.
This is way different.
Different than that? Okay.
Yes. Because here now you're talking about the levels of consciousness. So when you ask me, is everybody psychic? There are different levels of consciousness to have that intuition or inner knowing or hear the sound current or the nod or the nam on.
Yeah.
So one of the things we do as a spiritual practitioner is pay attention to the level of consciousness you want to be on. So for example, well, I don't want to offend anybody. This might get me in trouble, but let's just say you're a medium and you're listening to somebody who's passed. Do you want to listen to them? What do they know? I mean, maybe
I
they're
have that same opinion. I'm like, you had your time. I'll listen to you, but you had your time. Don't tell them what to do.
Wait, I don't
You
understand
had
what
your
you're
time.
saying.
If they want your
What are you
opinion.
saying?
well, what I there are different levels that you want to listen to. Do you want to listen to the criminal that just passed away that probably isn't a very high consciousness? Or
Yeah,
do you want to hear the highest consciousness that ever was?
I got you.
So you can choose
you
that
can. I agree with you.
and you can go there. So when you say you're practicing, Lisa, you are very aware of the sound current, the flow of energy, that river of life, river of creation. That's a very high consciousness to be in, very high. And when you hear the symphony, that's also very high. So on each level of consciousness is a sound, is a vibration, and you can hear them, feel them, sense them, whatever your mode is, or all modes at once. Even
Okay.
sometimes even smell the ambrosia, like they talk about in samadhis in the Vedas, in the Bhagavad Gita, the Hindu teachings. They talk about the fragrance, the
I
ambrosia.
smell a lot of stuff. I don't know what ambrosia is, though. I don't know that.
No,
I mean, I know the word, but I don't know what it means.
it just means the most refined, incredible smell that also takes you
So
into
I can
bliss.
smell angels, like in a Catholic church. Have you smelled that before? That sweet kind of. It's hard to explain. It just has a very specific smell. It's around Misty
Yes,
and
I
I.
have smelled sort of between jasmine and gardenia.
Ooh, you're nailing it. Yeah. And like a little bit of like air freshener pillow stuff or something. It's just really wonderful. And what it reminds me of is if you've ever taken the wafer at a Catholic church and it kind of melts in your mouth. You
Yeah.
smell that smell that comes up through the nerve there, That's
Mm.
like what the angels smell like, kind of too. That's the best way I've found to explain, but you just nailed it with actual things other people can relate to, because not everybody can relate to the Catholic church cracker, you know.
Yeah,
Oh, they're all the same everywhere, that same little cracker. So, yeah, I like those.
I used to think of them
I
as
know,
that.
I did too.
Have you ever had that Nico candy? They're,
Hmm.
and it's not the same, but I used to think, oh, I'm getting candy today. Anyway, but we
Mm.
have to relate it to the child within that loves loves its candy.
Yeah,
Hmm.
you're trying to. Okay, I don't want to think about the body of Christ, so we'll think about candy.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah,
Yeah.
you nailed it. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's hilarious. And you are extremely interesting, Catherine. You can go across the spectrum from way down into the like depths of below the depths to way up into the like other universes and then right back into a joke. Right. Like, how did she do that? That's great. You must be walking some dimensions yourself there.
Well, I believe we can all practice so we can become multidimensional.
I think you're
And how do
right.
we do that?
Yeah, Misty. Well, you got some questions, don't you?
Yeah, I want to know how.
We are already,
Good point.
maybe just not conscious of it. So the how is opening up your level of awareness, awakening to awareness, to your consciousnesses, plural, that are in the higher spiritual realms and your place on earth and everyday life. And you can, as you practice more and more, I mean, we're all practiced on the everyday life stuff. But as you
Hmm.
practice the higher realms of consciousness as a conscious, intentional practice and open your spiritual eyes to that and listening to the sound current and all the sounds of the beautiful sounds of the inner realms, then you start always hearing, like Lisa said, if you move your attention to it, it's always ringing there. Then you can start to listen to the ringing and everyday life and have it both at the same time. Like you're driving. If you're driving, but then you're thinking about what you're going to buy at the grocery store you're driving to. You're thinking about you got to stop at that stoplight that's right ahead of yourself. You're looking in your rearview mirror to make sure nobody's getting too close. You're multidimensionally thinking there, right?
True.
Okay, well, let me ask you something. Let me
Sure.
ask you something. Like when I meditate, or even when I start to meditate, I immediately go to this place, and it's just this beautiful earthly. It's not really earthly. It's just this beautiful water with sand and mountains, and it's just a beautiful place. And that's where I connect with my spirit guides and um, my gods. So is that the place that you're talking about, like the interdimensional place? Would that be that place that I'm describing for me?
For you, yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds, yes. I would call that an inner sanctuary as a
Okay.
jumping off point to wherever you are, whatever your intention is with your meditation time. And you can set an intention. I always recommend people set an intention. What is your intention? My intention, for example, is I go as high as I can, God consciousness, or seeing the face of God,
Right.
or
Yeah.
or sometimes it's healing. My intention today is healing. I got some stuff I've got to deal with, or I'm not feeling very good, or what. It's being in the flow of the grace of healing and in that vortex, in that field of healing. Oh, I'm just getting goosebumps. Maybe that's my
Yes.
intention. And that's just where I want to go for that time that I'm going, practicing the inward journey. And sometimes it's just as high as I can possibly go. And sometimes it's my own soul, right? So we travel the inner realms in a body. It's not a physical body. We call it the soul body. You can call it the soul body.
Right.
body, whatever words you want to use. Again, here we go with semantics. Doesn't matter the
Mhm.
word, but
We
it is a
all know, yeah.
vehicle. It is a vehicle that you travel in, and it's the vehicle that we end up in when we drop this body.
I
The,
can see that.
the eternal, our eternality.
Our
It's
being.
Our
Yeah.
24 grams or our 23
our
grams.
yeah, and there's a vehicle there.
Yeah.
So um, sometimes my intention is to just to get to know that vehicle, that part of myself more deeply, have a conversation
hmm
with it, develop my
hmm
relationship with it.
That is great advice to always have an
I
intention
like that.
when you go into meditation. I've never heard anyone really say that. And it makes a lot of sense. Usually for me, I'll drop into meditation just to see what it has to offer. And never once in a while I'll have an intention like calm down, stop a panic attack, or give myself Reiki, something like that. But I've never thought of it that way.
Well,
Very.
let me ask you this. What if you go into I usually go into meditation and I'm asking the gods and the guides and everything to help me with my journey here on earth. So not be doing that, but setting intentions before I go in.
Oh, I think that's a great intention.
That is a beautiful intention. Yeah.
Well, that's what I do every time, though. Do I need to switch it up a little bit?
I do.
I would switch it
Yeah,
too. I like switching things up. It's, unless you really like one thing, it's kind of like food. If you get like a food binge, you get a meditation binge.
yeah.
And sometimes I do just what you said. It's like, I just need to get out of this earth plane, the
Yes.
psychic material world. I just want to go.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just, I want to go to the highest place possible. And then I just let the current of life, of creation just take me. And
Absolutely.
then I just let it be a surprise.
I love that. Yeah, that's cool. I
I'm
love
gonna try
love
that.
having an intention. That is just a great idea. Very rarely have I been. I mean, when I was younger, I did that a little bit. I would like clarification on how I feel about this because I don't know why I feel what I feel. Usually that would be what it would be. And I need to do that right now. So I'm going to end this podcast. I'm just kidding.
hmm
I'm very confused. Just kidding.
So that's an emotional level. When we're younger, at least me, I can speak for myself when I was in my teens and stuff. I mean, the emotions were just, that's mostly what I was
Yes.
aiming out of was emotional level.
Yeah.
And sometimes it definitely needs attention, especially if I've been disappointed or hurt or disturbed by something.
Yes.
That emotional level needs some attention. Usually
Definitely.
it needs to be
Exactly.
heard, needs to be
hmm
heard, and it needs to be loved.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
does, because love is the innermost precious thing that we can give ourselves and others, I think.
And then other times, so I want to attend to that, and to master yourself is to watch what you need in the moment and supply it and give yourself that. And usually once you start practicing, another thing that we're talking about here is mastering yourself. So that's mastering your body, your mind, emotions, so that they don't run you, but you work with them as a partner.
hmm
So you move
hmm
out of
To make a whole.
reactivity.
Yeah.
Most people live in this reactive pattern where they're just reacting to life rather than
I used to
mastering.
be. I used to be very much a reactive type.
I agree.
Very
I
much. Not
used
so
to
much so.
too,
Yeah.
especially when I was
I found
like,
it's much more fun to be active. I mean,
I think we all have.
interesting. I'm not bored as much and I'm not sad as much when I'm doing something that's interesting or learning something or putting my, learning, putting my hands into work. I like to do stuff with my hands.
hmm.
Always trying to find something to do, that is expanding the mind in some way. Because even working with our hands, I think that gives us time to like let our like that's a lot of times when I do like big jewelry, if I'm not playing music, a lot of times I will tune in and hear that orchestra or that symphony sound,
Oh, beautiful.
because I'm zoned. I'm in the zone. I'm just with my torch,
Have you heard the flute?
There's all kinds of instruments, and sometimes there's just a flute over it, or sometimes there's an oboe over it, and I can jump in and play, not play because I'm not playing an instrument. It's kind of like I'm being part
Well,
of it. I'm
You
like
jump into
guiding.
the
I feel like I'm
vibration.
more like the composer, but
you
one of them.
And you actually are playing. So
Yeah.
part of this, we've just talked about something even more advanced here, which is that each one of us have our own tone.
I was
And that
wondering about that. I'm real curious about frequencies and sound and healing right now. So I'm very
and
interested.
melody, we each have an inner
Yes.
melody. And when you start to hear the inner symphony, you can also then begin to hear your own instrument playing within that symphony.
Hmm. I see.
That's
As a
really,
completion. Yeah, I can see that.
That'll
I'm gonna work on that because I'm just off like what I'm feeling. I feel like I'm a violin. Just that's where I always
ah
kind of tap into is the violin, the higher violins, not the little tiny one. No, is that the viola is the middle one, right? The violin's the main one that's high up, right? That's I don't know my instruments very well. I should.
got it.
But I think that's what I'm hearing. Yeah, and it's like the whole group of them, and then if a few come out and do something else, sometimes they will. If I kind of am doing that and they're doing it too, it's like I don't want to say it is like playing it, but it's like I'm doing it. It really feels active. It does kind of feel like I'm playing an instrument and focusing, but I'm not focusing at all. Is the weird thing. It's like jamming, and I play music too, but very much like getting into like a zone when you're jamming with a band or something and you don't know time, you don't know anything, you're just like no one cares what anyone's playing as long as it's in tune. Everyone's having a good time and the beat's good, and stuff like that. And the zone you get in is really beautiful. It's a really beautiful place, and that's very similar to hearing that background sound, I would say, or that symphony sound you know
You're very tuned in.
Well, you are too. And so is Misty Law.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing though, and I'm going to read a lot about that. I'm so thank you so much for teaching me about that. That's a thing. I have mentioned it on the podcast several times, and I think somebody said they'd heard of it, but no one ever actually told me what it was until you did today. So I'm really grateful for that. Thank you.
Oh, you're
Thank you.
welcome.
Missy, you have any more questions for Kathleen?
So, we were talking about doing the podcast, and getting to know your spirituality, and your guides better. So we do that by the meditating and asking, for guidance. And what other advice do you have to get in tune?
To attune yourself with the soul level, with your soul and
Yeah.
spirit, um, to go inward, to be still, a way to just start with that. Some people ask me, I have such trouble meditating. My mind just goes. I can't shut off my mind. I can't sit still. And shutting off your mind is it just doesn't work. The mind's
Hmm.
not really meant to be shut off.
It doesn't want to be, yeah. It's like
It's and
Hmm.
sequestered.
right. And so then people feel like they failed with meditation. And I just
There is no failed meditation.
no,
Yeah,
there's not. But people think that.
you're right. They do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
I
you're
it's
can
saying
not
see
one way
that.
is to remove that mentality, right?
well, the way is to transcend the mind. And part of it is to let it over here do it what it wants. I say get still, get quiet, write your intention maybe if you want for your time in the inner life and the inner journey. Find your breath, it has a rhythm. The sound current has a rhythm, just like the symphony you hear, there's a rhythm. Find that rhythm, and you can start with your heartbeat. So I start with meditation or what I call spiritual practices or spiritual exercises with hearing the rhythm of my heartbeat.
Mm.
And I let the rhythm of my heartbeat attune like a tuning fork to the rhythm of creation.
Cool.
You let that rhythm of your heartbeat attuned like a tuning fork to the rhythm of creation, then you step in it like you're stepping into a river, and then you let it take you. Now, if your mind starts going again, that's okay. Just come back to the rhythm of your heart
Yeah.
and stillness, and then let it take you. And it takes practice. It takes
Let's
practice
take practice.
and to open those channels and those your internal attunement to soul and spirit. It comes over time.
Yes.
And what happened to me over time, and I've been practicing this sound current meditations for 50 years now. So
Yeah.
I have a lot of practice. And
Yeah.
I had times where, oh, my mind is going so much that it's not going to work today. I'll come back to it.
Yeah.
And I had times where I just close my eyes and I'm just gone.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
me
maybe,
too.
Yeah, me
yeah,
too.
maybe a
So,
half an hour. I didn't
isn't
know.
that weird? The missing time. You like I like analog clocks, so I usually have one on the wall wherever, and I'll lie on the couch and I'm not asleep. It'll be like 1:15 and I'll kind of look away and the next thing I know it's 4. And I'm not asleep and I can remember some of the things I thought about and daydreamed about, but then like, most of it I don't remember.
Okay,
So
so
weird.
this is why you don't remember. Because when you're traveling in the inner realms, those are spiritual realms,
Okay.
physical realms. We don't have reference points in this.
Mm, right.
Okay. So when you
Right.
come back, you might remember a couple things right in the beginning and then it's gone.
You're right.
So, okay. So I have a technique for that.
Okay.
When you come back, write down everything you saw, heard, felt, smelled,
Okay.
knew, where you were, what it looked like, write it down. And even if you say to yourself at first, I don't know if any of this is true, write it down anyway. Because
Okay.
what happens over time is you begin, I'm getting goosebumps again. Over time, you'll begin to get reference points.
Oh, that's wonderful. I gotcha. I gotcha. That makes sense. You're starting to train yourself when you're going to bed, when you're doing what you're trying to do. You're training your brain to work on it too.
Hmm.
It's like
You're
your energy.
you're training your spiritual eyes
Spiritual.
and your consciousness to bring back the sights and sounds and experiences of the spiritual realms. So
Okay.
what you're doing is you're broadening and expanding your awareness. So we're aware here in this physical world. What that technique I just told you about expands your awareness for the spiritual worlds.
Okay. I'm gonna
Hmm.
try.
You
I'm gonna
start to
really work on
become
that.
aware. So when I said in the beginning, when you asked me, is everybody psychic? And I said, well, everybody can have attunement, can know the cosmic consciousness, can know everything. You might not want to, but this is how you know that.
Okay.
By opening your spiritual eyes, expanding your awareness, and then starting to understand the sights, sounds, topography, places, beings in those realms.
So they're giving you the
Hmm.
messages in the dreams, kind of, or in the space outs, or whatever you remember from spacing out, or that missing time.
Well,
Giving you keys to the kind of what they would call like a place or a because we don't have any, like you said, a reference point. I'll give us a reference point. Like let's say the dark, we call the dark. Let's say over there it's called like the shadow. A lot of people might do that anyway. Like the dark at night, it's dark in the room. Dark is kind of a concept because it's a visual thing
and
anyway.
now you're talking about something completely different.
Yeah, kind of am.
We don't need to go there.
We'll do that for the next one. You want to come back, Catherine? I would love it if you want to. You
Oh,
want to come back.
that's a very big topic.
It is.
Uh, a lot of people are really into that. I'm not quite sure why, but I some as a lot of the I do know why. It's historically some of the psychology stuff and the theories of psychology to go into the shadow self. It's sort of started with Jung, and I think that's just a a big slog for I don't know what purpose.
I think it's more for people, they call it the shadow and the shadow work stuff. I think it's more resonating for people who practice witchcraft, shadow work. Mostly what I know are women who practice witchcraft really get a lot out of shadow work. I would call it shadow work to a witch when I'm doing my self exploration and trying to get rid of bad habits and really figure out why I'm doing what I'm doing, usually in a meditation or walk, talking to my spirit guides, or even talking to a good friend, and trying to get it sorted out. It's all kind of the same. But
You don't need to go there. I think a lot of people go there because there's a lot of energy there.
Well,
and you
I
can
have traumas that I want to, like they say, you can go back and kind of fix. You don't have to go back and do that, but there's other ways to fix it. I do that in meditation, I would say, but I don't do shadow work in the traditional witchcraft way.
okay.
I would say I would do it like I'll go back to something that hurt me as a 15-year-old or something.
Yes.
And I'll just like love my inner child, give her a hug and talk to her for a little while in my mind, and that's gonna help a lot, but it's not fixing everything. But it's gonna help,
Well, that's a beautiful.
it's gonna help.
It's
And that's
beautiful.
my way of doing what I would call shadow work to a witch, but like to a psychologist, I might say, I've been trying to talk to my inner child. I think that's good now. Everybody knows what that means too. That's amazing to me. Anyone can say, talk to your inner child. And like, yes, or your higher self. A lot of people even know what that is. But I would say that's a great place to start in any kind of meditation or healing is that one. Just out there, throwing that out there. Uh,
That's not what I call meditation, though. That's
guided. That's kind of guided, but then I'll space out afterwards and see how I feel and just kind of float in it. Does that make sense? Like
so.
I'll try to get to the point to where I have a feeling of love between me and the inner child, whatever the representation is, and then I'll just kind of float in it like a pool or puddle or something. It's kind of hard to explain. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. If I get a solution, but sometimes I don't get a solution and I come out of it kind of frustrated, you know?
So I would call that inner work and
Okay.
healing.
Yeah, that's a really good way to
It's
put it.
called meditation or spiritual exercises or spiritual practice.
Yeah.
More to attune yourself to the higher consciousnesses.
Okay, so that's that point. And you're saying
Yes.
like this kind of meditation or these techniques are more for healing mental traumas or
Inner work
inner work.
is not really meditation.
Okay.
It's an inner healing practice. It's beautiful what you're talking about and necessary for just about everybody.
Really, it's so helpful.
Connect meditation or spiritual practices is really about traveling the inner realms of spirit.
Okay.
Hmm.
You're perfect there. There is no healing there. You're already perfect. It is
Hmm.
our eternal self.
Yeah, that's where I
That
go.
makes sense. I
Yeah.
never thought of meditation that way either. I've always had a very broad thought of what meditation means. I always thought it was kind of personal to everyone, but what you're saying gives it a lot of purpose for a lot of listeners, I think. A lot of direction for listeners when they're, and Misty, this is great for you. She says she has some trouble sometimes meditating. She's given you and me, both of us, great advice for like we've
Oh,
never
I can do it now.
have you?
I
I've
can
never heard
dive right
anyone
in
talk
there.
about it like you do, Catherine. You have a really good way of explaining this and the benefits and the purposes,
Anyway.
and you're explaining it to the listeners really well and to me too. And I do this, you're giving us words, you're giving us like sentences and paragraphs and phrases to understand what we're doing when we're doing it and what we can do. I think that's really cool that you do that. So speaking of, what do you do for your life's work?
Oh, well, right. I've done a lot of different things. I've had a great experience. I've had unbelievable teachers in
Oh,
my life that, yes, that I didn't go looking for, but I happened to live next to.
that's great.
So yeah, so when I was 19, I moved on to a ranch and I lived above a barn, two room thing without running water, and then the big ranch house. Some Native American people that followed Native American traditions lived there.
Ah, cool.
And yes, and so they
Oh,
had
wow.
um, a medicine man called John Fire Lame Deer. He wrote Lame Deer, Seeker of Visions. It's a very famous book about Lakota
Okay.
ceremonies. His son was there and stayed there. And I was invited on the ranch to go to sweat lodges and pipe ceremonies. And at the time,
Oh, how fun.
yeah, yes. And it changed me. And then they moved out, and some Sufis, which is an esoteric branch of Islam. And they also practice the sound of the heart, which is sound current. And they moved in and they had a very prominent teacher. And he came, and I didn't know what a spiritual teacher was, so I didn't really revere him. So he talked to me. So I had this incredible connection with a great spiritual teacher, and then it just went from there. And then I studied with a teacher called John Roger, who was a sound current practitioner and taught the sound current. He passed away about 10 years ago, but I found my home with him and his
Oh,
teaching.
that's so cool.
So, and then,
Yeah,
Lucky. I wish I
very
had, I mean, I did
lucky.
have one
Yeah.
mentor, but I was like 35 to 42 or 43. I did have one mentor, but I'd never had anyone really come along. He did. He just came along. He just picked me.
Mm.
Other than that, nothing's really happened like that again, you know. I haven't sought any out though. Maybe that's what I'm supposed to do. I don't know. This podcast has been the most educational thing that I've ever had experience. And we've been doing it for 6 years.
Me too.
6 years, really?
Yeah, yeah. We have like I guess this is season 8, episode 35. Or 36. I'm not sure. I have to look.
For
Every time I
you.
upload one, I have to see what number we're on because I forget. So yeah, we've been doing this a while, but you're telling me some things I've never heard before and thought about before. Everyone does. Every single guest will on this podcast. But like I like love what you've told me about the sound current. And thank you for that again. Where can we find you? Where do you live on the internet?
So I'm on the internet, Soul and Spirit on Instagram. Soulandspirit.net is my website. And I have a spiritual practice program on there. If you'd like to check it out or try it, there's like it's a subscription, but and what you get is 5 ancient spiritual practices. So what we've been talking about and what is really ancient, thousands of years old, and was always hidden.
I believe it.
It
Yeah.
was always hidden and that's why you haven't heard about it much. And a lot about the sound current, although it's been out there in every single tradition, it really came to the West by a Sufi named Hazrat Inayat Khan, and also some Sikhs called Sikhism is also a sound current practice, and then they had teachers. So this ancient, and it all comes from India. And then some Western teachers that heard the sound current like you do, um, learned about it and put the Western words on it. So in our time, it's become more and more out there in the world. But that's why a lot of people still haven't heard about it. Although it's out there, it
It's
was
hard to Google, and figure out what
hard to
that is.
Google. Google
But at
Medical
first, you have to notice it. Everybody else, like, notice it. I guess it's hard to explain. I think everyone can kind of hear it all the time if they notice it, you know. But you can't. You just barely remember hearing it like that.
Yes, because you don't have the reference point, because you're not hearing it with your physical ears,
No, yeah.
your spiritual ears. You got it, girl.
Yeah, it feels good too. You can feel it, your whole body moving with the music, the energy of the body moving with the music. It's like fun. It feels great. So thank you for that. And let's see. I guess at this point, I'd love to thank our sponsor, Everclear. Everclear is an advice app and website. You can get advice from psychics and empaths to get the clarity you need to create the life you deserve with Everclear. And they're an advice app and website. And it's a great, wonderful place. And Misty, do you think the listeners deserve the clarity to create the life that they deserve?
They deserve it.
They deserve
Very, very well deserved.
it. And
Hmm.
Catherine, Leslie, I would love to ask you some advice. For anybody who is like a musician and wants to tap into that current and they're kind of doubting if they've heard it, but they think they have, and they just want that validation from somebody else because you gave it to me today. I mean, I always knew I heard it, but you gave it a word, a thing, other people experience it. It's like, wow, it's tangible to me now that other people I can talk to about it. How would you explain to them to know they're having that experience or have had it before and it's that what it is and how you're tapping it, like to feel it? I mean, I get like the advice is right. The question I'm trying to ask is correct. Misty, will you interpret me?
She wants to know how a musician can tune into themselves to find that music
Yes, and
that you hear.
maybe make their songs along the lines of those musics. Those musics, they do sound like
How to turn it into a song, basically,
yeah,
their
you
own
can't do that
song.
with it. You can't do that with it. I'm thinking more like somebody else who like is a musician and they're confused by that because it's very musician. Well, musicians aren't going to be most that I know, like rock musicians are not going to be like too blown away by anything like that. But you know, a lot of people would be, say, you know, seventh grader playing violin and then they go to bed and they're just hearing it in bed and they're like, what is that? Why do I hear that? And well, like even to someone that young, what would you say it is to them other than like break it down real simple for somebody, to
What you're hearing inwardly and that beautiful sound that you hear, and when you turn your attention towards that inner sound, that is the sound from which all life is created.
that's
That
breaking it down. She broke it down. Okay, that's great. That's perfect. Thank you for that. And so if you're hearing that, she puts like put that you put everything into like nice boxes and really weird shaped boxes that are beautiful too, with the bows and Misty. I guess at this point we can go ahead and say goodbye. Thank you, Misty, and I'm very happy.
Thank you, Lisa.
And thank you so much, Catherine.
Yes, Catherine. It was great. It was wonderful. Thank you so much.
You are amazing. I have loved having you. I guess I'm glad it worked out, man. We have listeners and watchers. We had, this is a video podcast on Spotify if it works out. We had trouble getting this going and our calendars kept messing up because I wasn't supposed to find out about that, but we persevered and she was not supposed to tell me about that. But now incredible things are about to happen because I'm going to do a podcast about sound frequencies and healing the body with crystals. I've been working on it, but you've gotten me totally inspired to finish doing it because I have sound bowls and I have all the corresponding crystals if I, go with the 432 hertz sound bowls.
Yeah.
But that sound system. And I'm gonna try practice on the pod. I've never done it before. I always have beginner's luck, so I'm gonna try to practice like using the stone with the quartz bowl. And like I heard all over because I have a condition that does that. And I'm gonna try it on whatever's hurting that day with that note and with that stone. And on another day and do a few recordings like that and teach people how that might work if it does. I think it does because I've tried it with a tuning fork and it was pretty interesting. The results were pretty interesting.
Here's something you could try for your condition is listen to that sound current and try to mimic it in
Okay.
humming,
Okay. I
in
have done
humming.
that when I was able to concentrate on it really hardcore.
Of course you have. It does.
Yeah.
But I know who you are. Of course you have. Now bring it into those places that are hurting,
Okay. Yes.
That sounds good. Yeah.
right?
Move it into my energy
Hmm.
field and let it move
Yeah.
through it. Like I'm
Wow,
already
That's what
there.
it is.
Yes.
if what your condition is down in the cell level, the nerve level, whatever
It's
level,
genetic.
the DNA level, then bring that humming right into the DNA.
Okay.
You can change your DNA.
I have heard other people say that too, and they've known people who are capable of it, medical intuitives and stuff like that. I haven't met anyone personally who has done it, but I have heard other people say, my friend did this and she's amazing. Or they have, like even doctors have figured some of this stuff out for themselves. I figured out like a lot of people who've been on this podcast who are medical professionals or nurses or work in the profession and also study metaphysical effects of healing, not metaphysical, it's physical effects of metaphysical practices on healing. And they have said stuff like it's like the next step in our medical system. It's got to be because we could go on another podcast right there. I just went held here
Yeah.
France.
I could tell you about Egypt and the sound healing I experienced there. Because they were doing it so long ago.
Yes, they
Yeah.
were. They
I believe
were.
it.
Yes, I had a reading from someone who
I
told
think
me
it's
I
a
was supposed to
natural
get into
healing.
this, and I put it off for a few years, and I'm starting to look into it now. So, that's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to. That
So
was
do
part of your job.
humming, put it in the genetic area, and then all the consequences of that, whatever effect it's having, whatever that DNA, whatever effect it's having in your body that you're feeling.
It's a collagen disorder. All my collagen is different than other people who don't have this disorder
Okay, so put it
or
right in the
syndrome.
collagen. Put in the DNA that's causing this and right into the collagen. It won't
Okay, I will.
happen overnight.
Okay,
It's a process.
I'll
At
work
least
on it.
my experience using sound of the sound current, not sound of sound bowls, but sound of the sound current.
I'm current tapping into that. Okay, okay.
The inner
That's what I'll do. Yes, thank you. I will definitely do that. That's really
it right in
great
there
ideas.
every day.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
every day.
yeah. I can be dedicated on that. Yeah, I can do that. Thank you for your
It'll
advice.
start to change, no question. It'll
Okay.
heal.
I love it. That's something I could dig. I really like that.
Nothing that is not perfect can be in the presence of perfection. And the sound is perfect. The sound current, the inner sound, the spiritual
Mimic
sound
it.
is perfection.
Yeah.
So no disease in the body can exist in the perfection of the soul and the sound of the soul. All you have to do is align it.
Okay. Thank you so much. That's just
That's
beautiful.
simple.
You've just been one of my favorites. They're
Oh,
my
thanks.
favorite. You just blew my mind tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You
Listeners,
asked great questions and you allowed me to go there. And let me tell you, not everybody lets me go to those high in what used to be secret places.
yeah,
Very few do. So thank you for letting me go there.
I am so thrilled you did.
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
I'm speechless. Hardly ever.
Thanks for going there.
Yeah, I hardly ever have. Never like I have nothing to say. I just gotta think now. Okay, well, I guess I'll thank the listeners and watchers. Thank you, listeners and watchers, for watching and listening as always. And subscribe if you love us, and we know you love us because we love you, and that's the way where love works.
Yes, it
And have a
is.
wonderful time wherever you may be. Missy, goodbye, and Catherine,
Bye. We love
listeners,
you.
watchers, peace out. Bye.
Bye.
This is a podcast strip. P.S. So Catherine forgot to tell us about what she do. What's she doing? What's she doing? What are you doing?
So everything we talked about, I took ancient spiritual practices, meditation, some of the ancient sacred chants, some teachings from some of the great spiritual teachers throughout history. And then I made affirmations from those teachings and a guided meditation. So 5. And I present them every day. You get them every day on my app or on an email as you like. And it's only 5 to 7 minutes.
Wonderful.
And it'll just tune you right in. And then if there's one particular thing that you love that you can just listen to it, like one of the chants or one of the meditations, and you get it every day. And it's a subscription model. It's $19.95 a month. And then I know I made it as, just
I've made an app before too. I didn't do that, but it didn't work out. But that's wonderful. I love that. I'm going to check it out for sure. And I'll put
yes.
a link to that app if you want if you have it published already. And what's the name of
Yes.
it?
Soul and Spirit. And that it's soulandspirit.net and daily spiritual practice program.
Soul and Spirit Daily Spiritual
Practice program.
Yes. All right, guys. I'll put that in the podcast description as well as other cool stuff about her. And again, thank you for watching and listening. And thank you, Catherine. Bye, guys.